Have you ever felt like you're always on? Like the moment your feet hit the floor, you're already behind? That invisible pressure to perform, to lead, to provide, to show up, even when your tank's on empty? If you're a high performer, a business owner, a leader, this pressure becomes your normal. But what if I told you it's slowly killing your energy, your clarity, and your connection to what matters most? See, this episode's going to hit. And I want you to lean in because what we're talking about today might be the one shift that saves your edge before it's gone. Welcome to Wellness Matters, the podcast for high performers who look successful on the outside but feel stuck, burned out, or disconnected behind the scenes. I'm your host, Chris Bowe, transformation coach, speaker, and founder of Resilient Wellness. After years of battling addiction, burnout, and broken identity, I rebuilt my life from the inside out. And now I help ambitious professionals realign with their energy, mindset, and their purpose so they can lead with clarity and live with power. If you're ready to stop performing and start becoming, then you're in the right place. Now let's dive in. Here is today's episode. Let's break it down. So you've built the life that requires you to constantly perform, right? Whether it's at work, at home, in your marriage, even in your own personal growth journey, you feel like you've always got to be switched on, going, doing stuff, right? And sure, performance gets results. We know that. But here's the problem. You never feel like you can turn off. And that's where the slow breakdown begins. See, this is what I call the invisible performance trap, also known as burnout, right? So you're not being fake, but you're also not being free when you're in this trap. So you're operating from obligation instead of overflow. And eventually, what that'll do is that'll catch up with you. You start waking up with anxiety. You start dreading conversations. You start needing more dopamine hits. And like, what I mean by that is numbing out by scrolling or even overloading yourself throughout the day with caffeine. Lots of coffee, lots of energy drinks. Anything to get that spark going. Right? But nothing's working because your nervous system, it's not getting a chance to recover. And your identity, it's wrapped up in what you do instead of who you are. So let's talk about why this is so common, especially for men. But also, I want to say this, it's not just the men. There are so many successful women out there in the corporate world that struggle just as much with this as men do. And so I'm kind of speaking to everybody, but what I'm getting at here is from a young age, we as professionals, business owners, entrepreneurs, we're taught to produce, right? To fix, to earn, to win, to push those limits constantly because, well, let's face it, we want to be the best that we can be in the industry that we're in. And there's all this competition that's always out there of who's going to do better, who's going to get more, who's going to be more successful, right? It's there. It's truth. We have to understand that. And what happens too is this programming that we've taken on throughout our life, it runs deep. It like creates this subconscious formula that output equals identity. See, like the more you perform, the more you're worth. Or the more you achieve, the more respect you'll get. But here's the problem. You can't sustain performance without restoration. You can't. And if your self-worth is tied to your performance, you'll never feel safe to slow down. You'll feel like you're losing ground when you rest instead of rebuilding. And that's not a good place to be. Because then you're blindsiding yourself every single time, not allowing yourself to slow down and gain what is crucial and detrimental for your growth. See, and it's just not, this isn't just mindset stuff either. You got to understand that. This is biology. Like your nervous system needs cycle of activation and regulation. Your body, mind, and spirit are designed to operate in rhythm, not in relentless output. And so if we're not regulating what's going on internally, then needless to say, we never shut off. And that's wrecking us. So if you feel burnt out but still keep pushing, generally it's not really exhaustion. It's identity confusion. You're confusing who you are as a person. And I want to talk about 4 ways that this pressure to always perform, like how it's draining your soul and how you can shift it. So the first one, you feel guilty for doing nothing. It's a byproduct of always being busy. But to shift that, you have to understand guilt-free rest, it becomes a discipline. You have to schedule it. You have to protect it. You have to learn how to be without proving. And then the second one is you can't say no, even when it costs you. And to shift that, boundaries don't make you weak. They make you sustainable. So you need to try this phrase. I'm at capacity right now. I'm not able to take on more. You're coming to terms with your limits. And when you can place these limits and stick to them, then you're putting these boundaries in place that will help you not only show in leadership that you know how to handle the loads that you're given, but it gives you that break as well. You're not pushing yourself over that limit every single time, right? And the third one is you don't know what lights you up anymore. Like passion becomes null and void. See, when the performance consumes you, you forget the passion. And so you need to start asking, like, what gives me energy? What is it that fuels me? Not just the results, but what actually fires you up, gets you going. You need to pay attention to that. And you overcommit and underconnect. There's no way around this one. We were created for community, for relationship. And when we're getting too busy and wrapped up in our own successes and trying to push that bar to the next level, we tend to neglect the important things, and that is other people. Busyness often hides loneliness in the whole interim of this too. And I want you to really think about this. When's the last time you connected deeply? Not just with yourself, but with someone else, someone you trust. Because I can venture to say that when you're pouring into somebody else or somebody else is pouring into you, it's a little bit easier to get through these problems that arise. Or on the other flip side of that is you have somebody telling you, hey, you're off. Something's wrong here. And that brings awareness to the situation. But if we have nobody in our corner that's able to bring that awareness, then we're just going to continue to run on the same fumes that we've been running on. And that gets you nowhere. Here's the goal. Okay. We have to have an end game in this. Like we're recognizing the problems that we're facing. We're seeing the signs. The disconnection, the emotional exhaustion, We have lack of creativity, loss of pleasure. Like there's all these different things going on that are signs of where we're at in this realm of burnout. And so here's the goal: is we need to build a life where your power comes from peace, not pressure. And that has to start with internal safety. Like you need space daily where you're not performing, where your worth isn't up for negotiation at all. Like this has to be protected. This has to be a non-negotiable. And that could be journaling, it could be prayer, it could be a walk in silence, like whatever it is, it's yours though. And that's the important part about it. And from that place, that's where you rebuild your performance. And it's not for approval of others or anything like that. It's from alignment, your biological alignment with yourself. And then you show up better. You lead clearer. You live freer. The most powerful people I know, they are grounded. They're not just driven. They have come to terms with the fact that they needed to slow down and take time for themselves so they could reboot, re-energize, find clarity again. See, they stopped trying, or they stopped tying their worth to what they produce, if that makes sense. And in doing that, they're more productive than ever, but without losing themselves. And that's where we need to be. You see, it's funny if you think about it, we push and push and push and go and go and go. Yet that needle doesn't move as much as we would like, right? But what's funny is when you slow down and you start taking those moments to recenter yourself, really you're re-energizing your performance. And that provides you the energy to be even more productive than you've ever imagined. And it's funny how it works that way, but it's true. It does work that way. See, to have that mindset of just go, 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 go until you get what you need, it's a false representation of the truth about how to achieve. We have to achieve from a place of clarity, a place of renewed energy. So, I have a challenge for you that's simple, but it will stretch you. I want you from this week, from this day forward, I want you to take 1 hour this week and do something that refuels you, but make sure it has zero return attached. Like no emails, no meetings, no grind, just something that brings peace and joy to you. And figure out what that is. And then let that remind you of who you are. When like nobody's watching. It's just you. You're pouring into yourself. You're doing it for you. And then you will see the shift that will come. If this episode hit home for you, I want to hear about it. Leave comment, send me a message, whatever it is, but I want you to share your insight, your breakthrough, your story. See, like I said earlier, we were built for community. We were built for relationship. We need people around us that hear us. But you need to be able to voice for people to hear. You need to let it out, own it, explore it, and find some change in it, and let others help you do that. So I want to hear about it. I want to hear your breakthrough. I want to hear your story, whatever it is. But speak up about it. Be bold. You're a leader. These are things that leaders do, right? And I do want you to understand that you're not lazy for needing rest. So get rid of that limiting belief if you have that one attached. You're not weak for needing rhythm. You have to recenter. You have to reignite your passion within. And just remember, you're human, right? We all go through this. The turning point is when we learn about these and we can head them off as it starts to surface, then we can get through it a lot more resiliently, right? And that's where we want to be. We want that resilience, to be able to see the situation for what it is, know that we're in a spot that we need to check ourselves, and then do the things that we talked about to do that. So let's stop performing and let's start leading from the inside out. All right. Well, this is Wellness Matters. You're on the right path. You're on the right time. So keep coming back. And let's do this together.